Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Marvel United Maximum Carnage, which is, for me, the most anticipated part of the multiverse Kickstarter that they ran for the Marvel United. And that's because of the Sinister Six. The Sinister Six was released and in an earlier Marvel United thing, and is my favorite villain. If you rank all the villains in the Marvel Universe, the Sinister Six, which is 6 different villains, is my favorite way to play Marvel United. I just think it's fun to have 6 different small villains that you're all fighting against at the same time. This promised that and more. There's a lot in this box. Let's take a look. Okay, we'll take a look at the only heroic thing in this set, which is Morbius, who is a hero and a villain. Morbius is a kind of mediocre hero for me. He can stun a villain, so that's fantastic. He also can defeat thugs or discard civilians to draw a card to heal himself. He has 3 of those cards. He has a lot of special cards. And he can heal himself pretty easily here. Discard a card from your hand to the bottom of the deck to do an attack. He can hurt himself and then heal himself. The power of blood. I'm not thrilled with his icons. Not much heroic at all. It's, like I said, I don't know. I just find him to be okay. And I'm not sure I love his villain. He's basically Vampire Central. So what he's going to do is he moves around and he gets crisis tokens. And a certain number of crisis tokens defeats everybody, right? But basically what he does with most of his cards is he's going to turn civilians into thugs. Basically turning them into vampires, right? And he gains health every time he does that. He can't go above his starting value, but it still keeps him alive at the end. He can also force you to play randomly with the rest of his cards if you don't have 2 stars on the bottom of your card. And since so many heroes don't, that's going to happen a lot. His threats are all vampires. They're all the same. And if there's 2 or more thugs in a location, do 1 damage and give a crisis token to the hero here. I just find him to be, I don't know, just so samey. It's like you just have to kind of hope you get lucky in his game, I think. Because he's just going to be turning people into vampires, and every turn he moves, he's going to be attacking, and everyone's going to be taking these tokens, and you have to finish these as quickly as you can, get rid of the vampires. It's fine. I just don't find it to be particularly interesting. Scorpion feels like a character that we've seen before, except he comes with this new starting card, which is a Scorpion suit enhancement, which means he basically does his BAM twice. If you want to stop that, you need to get rid of the clear threats. Then this will get turned face down. It's the only way to do that. If you have any crisis tokens and you're getting them pretty quick, you don't get the symbols from the previous card. When you're KO'd, you take a KO token. 4 KO tokens takes you out. His movement cards are pretty generic, although he'll move to whoever has the least crisis tokens and hit you, and has a Scorpion thing. And all his cards out on the board are, he can't be damaged if there's thugs or civilians there. So it's not that he's bad, it's just that he seems, he's hard, and these are all hard, these guys. He just seems to be similar to other people we've seen who give out crisis tokens. Shriek is a villain I find to be pretty fun. She is going to, basically, she's trying to turn all the civilians. If you run out of civilians, you lose. And she's going to start right away by dropping some thugs out there. And then she moves around. Mostly she's pretty normal, although she does flip every once in a while. She'll turn and flip the civilians, and basically her BAM will constantly flip civilians and then do damage to people. However, heroes can spend heroic actions to flip thugs back into civilians. And then I also like, because you want to get rid of this because these henchmen, she comes with 4 henchmen, Carrion, Doppelganger, Demigoblin, and Carnage. And these guys, this one, Carnage, is eating civilians, and so is he. And so you basically, and this will avoid 1 here of damage for her. But for the most part, she feels different and interesting. Scream is a tricky one because essentially Scream is a race. Scream gets rid of the clear missions and adds his eradication here. And you'll know that you get rid of the clear missions because all the henchmen that she comes with can't get crisis tokens. And only Venom is the only one who can be defeated. The rest can't be cleared or defeated. And this card can't go out at any point in time. So she's moving around with a basically normal deck, a couple Sonic Knives that give crisis tokens to these villains, but mostly she does it on a BAM. And If she gives the same person 2 crisis tokens, we put a token here. 4 there, she wins. So basically you got to rescue civilians and beat up thugs and then go beat her up. And that's basically, like I said, it's just kind of a race. Demogoblin and Doppelganger, while they're really cool, they're a pain to fight. So what they are doing, they're very unusual. They are turning, when they discard tiles, and on the cards they both move a lot, but their BAM is going to do a damage and then discard all the villains and civilians in a location. And they add a ton back. But when they're discarded, they go to the wrong card. And if it's filled, if half or more of the tokens are on it, it's considered lost. So you got to be really careful, because if 2 missions are lost, you lose. And then he has some more damage and things that they do like that. And there's 2 of them running around the board, obviously, both causing damage to you. So this is definitely a very interesting villain. If you're insane, you can play with the Carnage challenge. This is an extra guy who runs around. He's going to be moving around with a die. There's numbers on most of the sides die, but there's a phase here where he's going to move. And he's putting infection tokens out on civilians and things. And he's just causing them trouble. You're going to probably lose. But if somehow you beat the villain, then boom, he becomes the new villain. All his health tokens if he's left over, and you have to keep fighting till you beat him. Yeah, this game was already hard. I don't know why people want this. I'm not going to go over too much of this Sinister 6 mode here, but you use everybody except for this piece of trash. And you're going to put locations around this board instead. And in fact, there's some new boards included in the set: Statue of Liberty, Fisk Tower, Hell's Kitchen, and Bishop Publishing. I'm really surprised Hell's Kitchen. Is this the first time it's in the game? Weird. Anyway, you're going to start with all 6 of these on the board, and when you flip over MasterCard plans from this deck here, it's going to tell you how they're going to move. You're going to start at the top, and that's the person who's going to move. And they all do different things here based on where they are. But there's also weak spots for them next to the board, and these are places where threat cards would go, and heroes are forgetting missions. They need to fill these out, and once their weak spot is gone, then you can beat them. And once they're gone, let's say Shriek is defeated. If I draw this card, Shriek's not going to be the one to move. Scream will move. And same thing here. And so this is basically just all 6, and that's the order of how you decide. And you have to defeat all 6 of them. This is a game that actually gets a little easier as it goes by, because they just keep doing different things. Doppelganger's doing a damage to each hero. Morbius does a damage to him in his location, and he also gets a health and adds thugs. So they're all very different. But that's not it. See, the game comes with all 6 of the cards for this specific Sinister 6, all 6 from the original game, and then 10 other Spider-Man villains, and we put them all here, and they're all, you can see, each of them is associated, I should have put the middle piece in first there, each of them is associated with a letter. Then you use the Sinister 6 deck assembled, and it will just say A or B and what have you. And it's going to be the same thing. So, like, for example, if I play with the team I think would defeat Spider-Man, Scream, Doc Ock, Spot, Chameleon, Kraven, Green Goblin. But there's more. The 6 you see down there: Sandman, Moreland, Scorpion, Hobgoblin, Electro, Doppelganger, Venom, Lizard, Shocker, and Vulture. That's 22 different things, which is going to give us a combination of 74,613 as you play with the Sinister 6. This has weak spots for all the ones except for the 6 that were in the original Sinister 6, because those already came with their weak spots. Holy moly. Folks, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. If only because of the sheer amount of content in this box. You are getting 1 hero, 6 villains, 1 piece of trash that you get to add to other villains and make them bad. But I mean, if you like that Carnage thing, it's fine. I'm amused by that, that add Carnage to another battle. And I also like the fact he doesn't have a deck, just a die. That's interesting, but also random. And that's pretty good. That's what most boxes would have. But then to have the Sinister 6. So you have these 6 guys in here, and they're a fun Sinister 6. They're just like the original one, very similar in many ways. And it starts off very hard because, oh, this guy's coming, this guy. And you have to look at all of them and say, which one can we take out first? We need to figure out who's the weak spot. Figure out their weak spot, shut it down, then let's beat them up and get them out of the way. Oh, now that they're out of the way, the other guys start moving faster and they're going to hurt us more often. So you want to try to leave the weakest one till last so that they're moving around a lot, but they don't hurt you as much. That's cool. Amazing. But then the fact that they included modular boards so you can play with 74,516. Was that my number I came up with? 74,613. That is a lot of combinations. And that's just fantastic. I mean, the Sinister Six is still my favorite way to play this game. Having the Carnage villains thrown in there, along with the original Sinister Six, along with some people that we played throughout, and you're like, why wasn't Rhino in the Sinister Six? Well, he is now. And that's just great. Yes, to fully utilize this with all of them, you need the original models, technically, and the original Sinister Six box. But even if you couldn't get that, even if this was just it, the Sinister Six included in here is fabulous. And then every time you get one figure, you now have one more, and now you have multiple combinations. You have 6 if you get one more. Then it increases. And I don't know. I just find it to be a lot of fun. So yeah, some of the villains in here, they're okay. Some of the villains are pretty good. I think Shriek might be my favorite of the villains in here. I don't know. I like the spider doppelganger dude also. Just an interesting box, chock full of content, so much. And if for some reason you think Marvel United is super easy, Carnage is here to shut you up. So that you go. Maximum Carnage. I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching the Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.